Hello everyone, thank you for tuning in today to our pages, our views. Today we have Terricka Alexander joined by her husband, her awesome support system, Cedric Alexander. They are here today to share the journey that they've been through in their marriage. Terricka has an awesome testimony as well that she's going to share with us about how God brought her through something that was life-threatening in her life. So thank you guys for coming in, giving me the opportunity to interview you today and just to share, you guys to share with me your story and the journey that God has taken you through and where He's brought you to today. You're welcome, you're welcome. So you've had your awesome inspirational alter ego photo shoots. I see your t-shirt, Yet Becoming. Can you tell me or tell us a little bit about Yet Becoming and why you chose this beautiful lady with the full hair and the blue lips?
Okay, well, because life for me has truly been a journey. I've experienced a lot in my life. My first, my 20s, weren't the, I guess when you look at life, weren't the best, but that's what I've learned most of my lessons. So I said when I turned 30, I was like, God, the 30s have got to be better than the 20s, because in doing that, I got married, I had two of my children, but I also, in the midst of all that, me and my husband were separated, and I got in a really bad car accident where I almost died, and then it was just back then, my self-concept, my self-image of myself was not good. I really felt bad about myself. I compared myself to other people all the time. I was my worst critic, and I got this show Yet Becoming because this is who I am. I'm Yet Becoming because I'm still growing. I know a lot of people feel like once they get over things, they've arrived, but I know better. I know I haven't arrived because it's a journey. It won't be over until the good Lord come home. And Lord, I'm not trying to come home anytime soon. But I just know that it's a process, and Yet Becoming that's my motto. I'm screaming, who I am, I'm Yet Becoming. And I'm excited about it. I'm excited to see
he's
what
shaping you, molding you every day. He does that with all of us, really. He shapes us, he molds us through the storms that we go through the pain that we experience, through the trials that we go through. He's shaping us and he's molding us through those. So we just have to see it like Terricka is seeing it. She's looking at it in a positive way, that this is growth for her, and she is turning in. She's becoming who God wants her to be. So she is yet becoming. As she goes, she's still becoming who He wants her to be. I like that.
This is my assurance. I got it. My assurance booster.
That's right.
My assurance booster. It confirms that I know, and it assures me that God has me. Because before, you know how you say one thing, but you really believe something else. But now I truly know that God has me, and it's a process, and it's not always going to be fun. It's not always going to be easy. It's going to be testing, and it's going to be trials. But He's pruning me, and He's creating me who He needs me to be. Not who I want myself to be, but who He needs me to be.
So you're wanting to operate in His will for your life. And that's
the only way life will work.
Yes, that's the only way life will work. You have to operate in His will for your life. And you have this photo here that kind of goes into, it's a nice segue into operating in His will for your life. Can you discuss
my good friend, it's awesome. My good friend Kimberly Johnson, she always have girl get-togethers, and so on this particular one, this has been probably about 2-3 months ago, we were sitting there talking, and she had them flipped over, and she said, okay, I want everybody, it was a whole bunch of, she said, I want everybody to pick up one. She said, I flip them over because I don't want you to see what they are. She said, because whichever one you pick, I know God makes that for you. And I picked up mine, and it says, if God brings you to it, He will see you through it. And it made me just reflect on my life. Because I've been through so much, so much, and even in the midst of all that, when I felt bad, because a lot of people like to make you think that was whole had faith the whole way, and there were days and times and moments when I was like, Lord, I don't know, like you can take me now, you know what I'm saying? I'll be good, but I'm glad. Every time I see that and I think about everything I've gone through, because everything from getting married, from having my children, from Cedric not being separated, from going through the accident, everything He has brought me through, He has saw me through. He has saw me through, and it wasn't the way I thought. Because that's what we get messed up, is we want God to do things the way we think it should go. But he did it the way he wanted to do it. And the way he did it was far better than I could have even done it myself. And I realized that everything that he's brought me to, he's seen me through everything from the accident. I think about how in the beginning when I thought my husband was my father. When I didn't think I could process cognitively, I couldn't think right. To be told by my job that I was a liability, and then tried to force me to resign, but then later terminated me. Like, and all of that, like you were thinking all of that, like, what did you do wrong? But in all of that, God saw me through it. He's seen me through everything. I've learned how to walk again. I've learned how to talk again. I can think. When my doctor, even my doctor who told me about the Stephen Johnson, even when he sat down and told me, yeah, you're doing good, and I was 25, but he told me, but I still don't see you being back to where you were. And he was being optimistic, but as he said, as a doctor, I have to tell you from where I come from, because I come from from the medical perspective. And just to see what he said and to see me now, I have Cedric and I are getting ready to start. When we're starting the business, like I can think, like I know that's my husband. I mean, I can think. Whenever they said I wouldn't be able to think, I can think. So that's just.
And that was a difficult time for you. It was really a healing process for you. And everybody knows, well, not everybody. Everybody doesn't know that they're healed when they're going through certain things. But you have to have a knowing that you're healed. And when you have professed it, you've asked God to heal you, it don't happen just like that. Not for everyone. You might be healed from a headache just like that. But when you went through a journey as Terricka went through, having a car accident, being in the hospital, having to heal from so many different issues, it was a real deal process in that process. And he was one of her biggest supporters, including her family. He was one of her greatest supporters. So Cedric, my question to you is, I actually wrote these questions down for Terricka, but I'm actually going to ask you one of the questions that I had written down for her. And it was this one. At what point in her journey, her healing process, did you really have to rely on God and call on God and ask God, what does he want you to do? At what point did you see, in that healing process, did you have to go there?
Doing the accident and all.
Just being there with her through and while she was going through the healing, whether at the hospital, whether back at home, what point did God really show you?
Mainly it was the most difficult when we came back home, because I didn't have no doctor there to look after her while I went to work, and just to make sure she take her medicines, and then we had to find babysitters and all of that. So, I mean, going back to work, it was hard because I have to get up and make sure everything was right before I go to work, call home every so often, worrying about her, calling my sister, asking her to run out there and check on my dad, my mom, and then all the time I couldn't get in touch with nobody. And so I had to sit at work wondering and hoping she didn't get out of bed and fall and stuff like that. And making sure she take her medicine. And then when I come home, she would tell me she took her medicine, and really she didn't, because she didn't really remember at the time.
If you provide the fire, I'll provide the sacrifice. If you pour out your spirit, then I will open up inside. Fill me up, God.
That's the thing, like to this day, it's a lot of things that Sarah tell me, people tell me, and I look at it as fortunately I don't, because I don't remember. I was out. I do not remember. The only thing I remember, I can go back to the day before, but I knew what I was doing the day before. But when I was in the hospital, I don't remember anything. Detail oriented. I remember some things, but not a lot. Not a lot. But like the experiences, people, like the different things, like he said I did, I don't remember that. And I'm glad that I don't, because I'm able to, when I see people and I meet people and they tell me, oh, I remember you did this, that just really makes me fall in love with God all over again. Because even when he still was looking out for me. He still was using me, and I didn't even realize he was still using me. Like I actually met was it one of the ambulance people or the firemen? Either way, I met one of them, and we was talking, and he literally looked at me in my face and said, "I just knew you was dead." He said, "Had they told me you didn't make it, I would not have been surprised." And the man was crying. He began to cry because he said, "I really thought that you was gonna die." And stuff like that that made me feel good. And that's why I tell people all the time, you could be here today and go tomorrow, and cherish every day. Cherish every day, because you don't know when it's gonna be your last. Because I'm telling you, had I known that was gonna be my last day, I wouldn't have gotten in the car. I would have stayed at the house. I wouldn't have got in the car. But you don't know.
When it came out though, it wasn't nothing but God. From the time we wrecked, right after we wrecked, I got out the car. I got Brendan out, and then the girl that's actually keeping Elena now, she walked across the road, and Brendan never would go to anybody, and she said, "I'll take him." And Brendan, his face was so bloody, she wiped the blood off his eyes. I handed him to her, and Brendan looked at me. He said, "Daddy, Mommy, all right?" And he wasn't really talking good then. And then
Brendan was 3.
Yeah, he just talking, "Daddy, Mommy, it's okay, talking like a grown person, And then, I tried to get her out, and when the firemen got there, they made me get out, because I couldn't come out the top of the car with her. And he was like, get out. I said, "No, I'm staying till somebody come to get her out." He was like, "No, the car might blow up." I said, "Well, it'll blow up with us." And so when I got out, I was just crying. I remember putting my face down on the asphalt, praying. Daddy was just telling me, "Son, just pray. And then when I opened my eyes, it was confirmed to me. I had confidence that she was going to make it. But just to listen to what the doctor saying, "No, she won't make it," and this and that. But I had already seen it, because God showed it to me. Her face just came up. When I opened my eyes, I was on my knees. Opened my eyes, the asphalt just lit up. And there she was, pretty as could be, just smiling at me. So that was confidence. And then with Brendan saying that to me too. It was a lot going on. And then at the hospital, even the nurse that was tending to her all that time, when she come in late at night. And it was a black lady. And when she smiled, it just like lit up. And she came in, I ain't saying nothing to her, just smiled. She was playing into her hair, just humming, just playing in her hair, feeding her, all kind of stuff. And then, that was night after night after night, she would come in. And so after Terricka got herself together, after a year or so went by, and we went back to Spartanburg, to the hospital, because I told Terricka about this lady, how she was tending to it. And we went down there, gave them the lady name, everything. They looked back in their records, and they said, "Sir, we looked everywhere. This woman was never working here."
What?
So, I know that was God has
sent an angel.
And that just
angel.
Furthermore makes me feel great, because he loved me so much. He said, "You know what? These earthly nurses, no, they can't do it. I got to send somebody. I'm sending somebody to watch over you, to take." And so that just, like,
thank you, God.
It just,
even when my back was hurting, I didn't want to sleep in the hospital no more. It was like Kim showed up, this girl that was taking a class online with Terricka at Clemson. I never seen her. I don't think Terricka ever seen her.
nope, never.
I never seen her husband.
Just on phone.
They showed up at the hospital. They never knew who I was and what I looked like. I was walking to the bathroom, they was coming in, and Kim looked at me. She's a black lady, her husband white. Now, does it matter? But she just looked at me. I looked at her, and she took a deep breath. I saw the tears running down her eyes. I said, Kim. She said, Cedric. And we just cried and cried and cried. And I took her to the room, and she said, there's my angel. That's my baby. That's my baby. And then right long after that, Kamala's brother, he came to get me and told me I could stay a night at his house and get me a good night's sleep. And Jeff told me that he would watch over Terricka.
Wow. God sent angels. He sent
And
angels.
I have to
Everything
elaborate
just
on
fell in
Kim. Like,
place.
Kim didn't, like, she didn't know me. We just, like, literally, we were in the Clemson Master's program together. We talked on the phone, never met each other, talked on the phone all the time about class, just talk. And actually, the week of my accident, that was the week we were supposed to meet. We were going to meet. And like I said, she never knew me. We said we were going to meet. I got in the accident. She said she said she found out in class, because we had, the way our program was set up, you had class certain nights, sometimes. So she said she found out in class, and so she said then when she called my phone and she found out everything, and that just showed. She taught me what being a true friend was, because she didn't know me. Like what I could have been telling her on the phone, I could have been telling her anything, and ever since then we have been inseparable. I love her, and I thank God for that, because God used her to show me what a true friend is. And I mean, I have friends, and I had friends before her, but that was the epitome of what friendship is, because she didn't know me. She did not know me, and yes, she did. She was like we were kindred spirits, and to this day we inseparable.
So Cedric, now we want you to encourage the men. That's right. Get your kiss on. Get your love on. Encourage the men. Wipe his lip off. No, but encourage the men, husbands, men that might be going through a similar situation that you went through with having to be a caregiver for your wife. And how would you encourage him to just hang in there? How would you encourage him to stick and stay and trust God?
Yeah, me personally, growing up, Mom and Dad always encouraged me to trust God, to pray, and all throughout marriage, I kind of got away from that a little bit. I always knew God and trusted God and loved God, but life kind of got to me a little bit. You know what I mean? And through this accident, from day one in the hospital, time went by, and I was actually in the room by myself, and the doctor told me that she was going to be in a coma for a while. And I was just like, God, heal my wife, heal my wife, heal my wife. I forgot all about just praying and you know what I could do for her. I was just at a point, because I'm used to being able to just fix everything, and I couldn't fix that. I had to trust God. And I was in that room by myself, and I was like, God, heal my wife, heal my wife. And I heard something, he said, you heal her. And I just started crying. He said, you heal her. He said it again. And I started from the top of her head. And I went all the way, I touched every part of her body praying, asking God to heal her. And when I got to her feet, her toes started wiggling. And Terricka actually started moving. The doctor said she couldn't move. And she moved. And I knew right then that God would heal through your prayers. Yes. And you can't do nothing by yourself. You got to ask God and trust God. Yes. You know, but you got to mean it when you asking him to do these things. And God brought me through it all. I say it wasn't hard because I actually trusted God, began to trust God and let him do what he do, you know, just step by step. And any guy that's going through this or going through having to take care of your spouse or a family member, you just got to trust God and know that God is going to see you through it, because he's not going to put nothing on you that you can bear, can't bear, you know. But he'll see you all the way through it. Just trust him.
provide the fire. I'll provide the sacrifice. If you pour out your spirit, then I will open up inside. Fill me up, God. Fill me up, God.
Welcome back to Our Pages, Our Views, where we are here with Terricka Alexander and her husband Cedric Alexander. They have been giving us their testimony as a married couple, and Terricka has been giving us her journey, her healing process that she went through after a really bad accident. So if you have not tuned in until just now, I would really like for you to go back and watch the rest of or the beginning of this interview, because it's great. It's definitely something that you can use or that you can pass on. So Terricka has some pictures here that she's going to show us, and she's just going to give us a brief overview of each picture or each shot, because it's a part of her story as well. So Terricka, you want to share that?
Yes. Well, this picture right here, this was before my accident, and I will share, and for a long time I used to be ashamed of it, but now I'm not. But during this time, this is Cedric and I, we were separated at the time, and I seemed happy, but I was tore up from the floor up. I was sad, because I kept telling myself I didn't get married to get separated or get divorced, but that was the beginning of my rough time. And then this picture right here, I actually took it today. This is my first time. I've seen it, but this is my first time really going to it. But this is the tree that I actually hit. As you can see, I guess I'm one because he still got scars, but I'm healed.
Amen.
This
That's
is the
right.
tree. And these next few pictures, these are actually of the car. Most of the, well, all of it. I tell Cedric all the time, I took one for the team because the tree, it was hit on my side. So this is the passenger side, and I had to be cut out of the car. So here's another side view. This is the actual top of the car. These two right here, top of the car, right here. Actually, a friend of mine. I had never seen myself before. Like, I have pictures. The pictures that Cedric took of me was after I had left Spartanburg. I was at Health South, so I look a lot better. But my Sarah, she took two pictures of me, actually what I look like in Spartanburg, and they were really, 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 really take my breath away, because I looked and see myself like I was hooked up to the ventilator, all these tubes. Cedric said they had to put the arm restrictor things around, cover up tubes, because when I would wake up, I would try to pull them out, so they had to cover them so I wouldn't take them out. So this was when I was in Spartanburg, before I was taken to Health South. And this is me, a lot better. When I was in Health South, that's the rehabilitation hospital where I had to learn how to walk and talk and really think. And I didn't realize that you actually had to go through that. Like, I had to go to a speech language pathologist, and I had to do cognition exercises where I had to learn how to think again in the process. And I remember going back to Spartanburg. Cedric would tell me, my sister Brittany would tell me that what would happen is I would start at 1, and I would count. I go 1, 2, 3, 4. I would count up to 10, and I went up to 20, and then after a while I would count as fast as I could to 100. And my sister, I laughed. She don't give me for 10, but she was like, I wish she'd stop. Because I was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. She said I would just go fast over and over again. But she said what it was the doctor said that it was just my brain firing back up. So I thought that was funny.
He says actually going to revolve from when she was a baby all the way back to an adult.
And I thought my husband was my father. I did. And this right here, this is our family photo. The we need back. With that being said, we need to take some more. Family photo. And this is right here. Last year, I was given the opportunity to work at the Emmett Scott Recreation Center as an after-school coordinator, and this is monumental for me because I was told that I would never be able to do it, anything like that again. I was diagnosed with complex partial seizure disorder, and so me actually being able to do anything, they said no. And I do have limitations, don't get me wrong. Like, I do have limitations. I know with God can change anything, He can turn anything around. But I do have limitations, and I'm glad that they said that I couldn't do this. So yeah, I did this. With limitations, I did this. And no, I couldn't work full time like most folks, but I was able to give my time, and I'm thankful for that. And
so before you go on to the next picture, because I see what the next picture is, so before you all get to see what the next picture is, I want to ask her about where she is now and where she's coming into now, because all of these were her past. All of these were her past before the accident, and during the accident, during the healing process. That was what these pictures are. So these pictures, it's done. It can still be remembered. It's supposed to still be remembered because it's a part of her story and her testimony and their story and testimony. However, God has delivered her and has healed her and has made them stronger and put them together more on one accord. So now they're going in a new direction. They've been delivered from that, and they're going in a new direction. So what are these new goals? What is your new focus right now?
Well, this right here is a picture of my logo for Yet Becoming Motivational Speaking and Consulting. Super excited. And I got to speak at York Tech last year and tell my story. It was a leadership symposium, and from that I learned what I wanted to be when I grew up. I want to be a motivational speaker. I want to tell my story. And I realized, had I not gone through all that stuff, I wouldn't be here. And so I'm ready to tell my story. So here you have Yet Becoming. I'm super excited about that. So it's my goal to be a commencement speaker at Spelman. And I believe that God's going to do it. I believe it.
All right.
I believe it. And so with that, I actually did a youth leadership roundtable. And this is just a picture of me. My sister and I, at my very first round table, I was very, very excited. Very, very excited. With my little shirt and my natural hair. So, yeah. And this is a new chapter that my husband and I are starting. Youth Innovations, Youth Development and Learning Center. And where our motto is helping youth achieve excellence and defy the odds. So that's what's going on now. Look out for me. Look out for me. Well, for us, not for me, but for us. And I'll end with this picture. This is me now. This is me now.
Yes. So before we finish up, I definitely want you to look at the camera, and I won't say it to do his separate, but you first look at the camera. And what kind of encouragement can you give to someone now that God has brought you through? Give us maybe 2 or 3 main ways, or 2 or 3 main things that you can tell a young lady or a woman, a wife, a young wife, mother that might be going through a struggle right now, that may even have had some sickness and going through her healing process. What can you tell her? Well, how can you encourage her right now?
Okay, number 1, know that God is in control. For me, God had to show me, Terricka, I got this. You're not doing any of this. I have this. Know that God is in control, and everything is planned. All things work together for your good, the bad, the ugly, everything. Know that God is in control and that He has you. Even when you don't think He do, He does. He has you. And secondly, don't allow your limitations to stop you. I mean, you're looking at somebody who disabled, according to man, disabled. I'm not supposed to be able to think the way I talk. I literally had to learn how to walk and talk all over again. And even in the midst of all of that, they were like, still I was going to be shaking. I wouldn't be here. And even just to go back, I went through that, but I also had a stroke. And that was bad too. So just know that your limitations don't define who you are. They do not define who you are. And just know that who you are, you're yet becoming. Know that it's a journey. You'll never fully arrive. You know, it's a process until, like I said, I was telling them earlier, we were laughing, until the good Lord call you home. Now, I'm not trying to go home anytime soon, but I'm just saying, it's a process. I know a lot of times we put ourselves on timelines and say, okay, by year 5, I want to be, and it's good to have goals. Don't get me wrong, because a goal without a plan is just a wish. So, know that you can do it. You can do it. I'm excited. Just know that who you are, you're yet becoming.
If you provide the fire, I'll provide the sacrifice. If you pour out your spirit,